Hey guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking about how to be a good commander inside the arenas here on Star Stable. One thing I do want to say before I start giving my whole speech is that I may have had a different experience from you, so these tips are based off what I have noticed and you know the whole thing. So let's get right into the video. So one of the things that I most commonly see across commanders is a lack of confidence. And I feel like for every tip that I'm going to point out, there's like two ends of the spectrum. It's like either the too shy, too much lacking in confidence, or too much confidence. First, I'm going to start off with talking about a lack of confidence. Now, it's kind of easy to tell when your commander or instructor is a little bit shy or a little bit anxious, because you will see them apologizing a lot for their mistakes. So the first tip right off the bat, if you are the kind of person who lacks confidence as an instructor, try not to apologize very often for your mistakes, because it just makes you sound less qualified for your job, I guess. We all make mistakes and it's fine, but just like don't have pity on yourself over it. So just don't apologize, because things happen. And then the other thing is try to stay focused on your teaching, because I've noticed when people are nervous, they have a lot of like nervous laughter. Like everything they say might end in like XD, like the laughing face. And I get why instructors might do that. Like to try and add some mood to the lesson, I guess, because I've definitely been there. But just keep focused on what you're doing. You'll do great, and just have that self-esteem. The last thing you want is like everyone in the lesson to be like, what is the commander doing? Like laughing, apologizing for their mistake. So just keep cool and do your job, and it'll go fine. Now, there's also the other side of that line, I guess, which is the overconfidence and the too much confidence. Now, I also think it's very easy to tell when someone is too overconfident or too strict in their teaching. The first thing you might notice is that they are more aggressive about commands, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a little more aggressive. But for example, ending each command with a period. Now, I feel like this is a debatable thing, but in general, I don't really feel like ending your commands with a period is necessary. And periods often make you sound a lot more serious. So only end with a period if, like, I don't know, you're typing out a paragraph or something. Or like I've shown this in the past, I use periods to help people distinguish between the pre's and go's, because sometimes you just see a bunch of messages going up in the chat and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know which one's the pre and the go. Like, I feel like the period really helps distinguish my commands. But if you're using a period after every single pre, go, curl set, I don't know. Some people take it as a rude, aggressive thing, which might not be your intention. So I would just say right off the bat, don't try to aim for that unless you have a good reason for it. Another thing that you might notice with more strict, overconfident commanders is that they're not very kind to people, and they might threaten to do something to you in the club or something for like making dressage mistakes or whatever. Just know, like, for some people that kind of commanding works good, like that tense environment. But when you're commanding, in my experience, specifically like more beginners or people who struggle with dressage more, talking really strict can often put people down and make them feel worse about themselves. And I've even had times where like people choose to drop out of the line because they feel so bad about themselves, when in reality it's just that the commanding is more strict and tense, and it makes them feel like they're doing everything wrong. So just my best tip for that, kind of like what your dressage style, teaching style should be, is to first focus on who you are teaching and what their personality is, because the rider's personality makes a big difference. If everyone's very goofy and upbeat, you might try and be a little more strict to put everyone in their place and get them focused. Or if everyone's very serious, you might try and use a little more lightness, be a little more goofy, a little more relaxed, so that everyone feels friendly to each other, you know? So it really depends on what the mood of the riders looks like. Moving on, there's another thing I want to talk about. As a commander, you yourself need to be a really strong person, strong in like a mental sense. And one of the things that comes with that is like you need to have some really good basic personality traits, like honesty or kindness, or you need to be observant, you know, like all those things I feel like every commander needs to have. And the main thing I am pointing at here is the honesty part. When you're a commander, you make a lot of mistakes, and that's fine. I've probably made 100 mistakes at this point. I've taught so many times, and I think the key takeaway for me is just being very upfront with people, because a lot of times I will make, like, say we're trotting down a wall or something, and I keep calling out the wrong move or the wrong way, and I'm just confusing my riders by being confusing myself. At that point, it's important that, like, I wouldn't say, like, deeply apologize, but just, like, explain myself or have a good laugh over it, or say something to be like, haha, yeah, I'm making a big mistake here. But that's one of probably the biggest issues I see with some commanders, is that they don't want to admit their mistakes. They don't want to admit they don't know something. It is fine to not know things, and it is fine to say, I'll get back to you on that. I've had to say that many times. Some people are like, oh, could we do this move? And I'm like, I don't know what that move is. And they're like, oh, okay, right? But that's, like, better than kind of lying to yourself and being dishonest to people. So always keep that in mind, that in the end, people look to you to direct them. And if you're not being that good person that is truthful, then they're not going to trust you very much. Now, the last thing I want to talk about also has to do with the personality, which is the ability to hold your own beliefs. Now, there's nothing wrong with looking up to your club leaders and owner. Usually that's totally okay. But there's a lot of times when you're instructing that I've seen instructors let other people choose everything for them, and they will take every single command or something from their leaders or owner and do it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but when you're a commander, it's really important that you feel comfortable enough in what you're doing that you can make decisions for yourself about your commanding, and not feel like people around you change what you're instructing is like, if that makes sense. So basically what I'm saying here is that it's really important to know what is good for your riders and your members, and not change that for anything, because you yourself are the one who has gained this dressage knowledge over the years, not anyone else. And if you're willing to drop that just because someone told you something like, oh, you're not supposed to teach that way, or oh, that's really bad commanding, then you You need to be more confident in your own knowledge, because at the end of the day, it is you that needs to teach this, and it is you that needs to make these decisions. No other person. So those are my dressage commanding tips for today. I felt like that video went so deep, but let me know what your thoughts were, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.